Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian, and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Europe here on this wonderful Tuesday. I hope everybody is having a good start to their week, staying optimistic, studying lots, and staying healthy. In this class, everyone, we are looking at the speaking section, the speaking interview, and specifically we will be focusing on strategies and practice for speaking part 1, and I will explain how to start with that band 9 introduction. Hi Estefan, nice to see many students already joining into the class. That is wonderful. As usual, this class is brought to you by aehelp.com for academic IELTS success. Definitely check us out there, and for the general IELTS, visit us at IELTShelp.com. And I have some really good news for you. Right now, we still have the best promotion of the year going on. We still have our Cyber Monday coupon going on. It's a 40% discount. You just need to use the code Cyber Day when you click on aehelp.com, and then you click to sign up for the premium package. Cyber Day will save you that 40%. Same with glshelp.com. Hi Rashika, hi Jainil, nice to see many of our members joining in. Adrian, Josephus, you're a name twin. Nice to see you in the class. How you doing? All right, everyone, I'll quickly show you these websites. So this is our academic IELTS website here. With the blue background at aehelp.com. You can click that big red button there, and then once you do that, you can click this blue use coupon code button. I know that's quite bright background there, but anyway, click that blue button and then you can use that Cyber Day coupon. General IELTS, it's the green background. And again, just click the big red button to go to the checkout for our premium package. Use the code CYBERDAY to get that 40% discount on all of our videos, practice exams, interactive courses. It's a great deal. You definitely don't want to miss that. All right, everyone. So if you ever have questions, just send me an email, adrian@aehelp.com, and I will gladly answer your questions. Shaili, welcome to our group of members. Send me an email, Shaili, so I can send you the perks for those videos, requests, and exams. All right. So we have a full week of classes for you today. We have an extra day today this week as well. I was on holidays, so we're making up some time. So today's speaking part 1. We'll have writing, listening tomorrow and the day after. Then we'll have writing and reading on Friday and some more speaking on Saturday. That schedule is always on our YouTube community posts, so you can check it out there. Shaili, very welcome. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. It's a beautiful name. It's quite unique. Shaili, I think, Shaili. So welcome aboard. Okay, everyone, so let's get into some speaking. This is speaking, so make sure to speak and repeat. Okay, it's great that you write your comments into the chat. That's good practice for writing, especially if you're doing the computer-based practice exam for your typing as well. What's really important is that you're speaking also, okay? So make sure to speak and really enunciate, okay? Oreo, Gurpreet, I hope that has put a smile on your face. All right, everyone, so the speaking section is roughly a 12 to 15-minute interview. It's personal, it's face-to-face. Now, because of COVID, there are quite a few different variations of the speaking section around the world, depending on where you are. In some places, you do the speaking interview, you have some good social distancing, there's no masks, there's nothing. Most places, you will have to wear at least a mask to do the interview. Some places like China, there's a mask and also a shield, like a plastic plate between you and the examiner, okay? And in some places, like in India and in some other places, they're experimenting with computer-based video chat speaking exams, where you basically go to an exam center to do this. You still have to go to a place, so you don't do it from your home computer, but you're not actually sitting in the same room. So lots of different kinds of scenarios for the speaking interview due to the elephant in the room, COVID. There's a new idiom for everybody, the elephant in the room. It means that it's the big situation that everybody is aware of. Okay, I'll teach you that idiom. It's kind of a good one to know, especially with the elephant in the room, which is COVID in this case. So this is an idiom. Okay, let me just unbold that idiom. It's the elephant in the room. Okay. Again, practice saying these. So elephant in the room. And we say the elephant in the room. It means the most obvious and pressing issue that is commonly known. So that's what this idiom means. I'll give you an example sentence, okay? Due to the elephant in the room, IELTS is forced to experiment with a variety of different speaking interview setups to keep candidates and examiners, I'll get the hang of it, safe or healthy, okay? So that's how that's used, okay? So here we go. Repeat after me. Again, this is speaking, and we're going to do lots of practice today as I explain to you the strategies, okay? So the elephant in the room. Due to the elephant in the room, IELTS is forced to experiment with a variety of different speaking interview setups to keep candidates and examiners safe. The elephant in the room clearly refers to the pandemic, okay? So that's how that works. All right. Okay. Naina, good try. That's not how you would say it. You would say, because of the elephant in the room, I'm stuck at home doing my school assignments. That's how you would say that correctly. Okay, so careful with idioms. Only use idioms if you're 100% certain that you're using them correctly. Otherwise, don't use idioms like this in your speaking if you're not sure, because then it will be confusing and strange for the examiner. So only use idioms if you're 100% sure about their accuracy. Okay, all right. Amanda Lopez, good luck on your exam on December 19th. Again, make sure to check out those websites. They sure will help you. Okay, so let's warm up. Now, when you go to your IELTS speaking exam, make sure that you are confident. You've practiced wearing a mask, especially if you have to do your exam in a mask. If you have to do your exam through a computer, make sure to practice through a computer. By the way, you can practice live video chat speaking on the websites as well. There's a function for that on both of those websites, so you can do that. That's free, so you can do that without paying a cent. And make sure to practice, be confident, be prepared. Now, you want to definitely be smooth, fluent, and clear during the introductions, okay? So there's a saying in English, and I believe this saying exists in most languages, okay? I think a lot of you are familiar with this. First impressions are key, or first impressions last a lifetime. Okay, so there's a couple of kind of sayings that you want to keep in mind. Now, the first impression that the examiner will have of your speaking skills is the introduction. It's the first couple questions. So even if you practice this 1,000 times, don't feel bored. Don't be like, oh, I just never want to hear that question again. Every time you hear it, especially in your IELTS exam, feel like you're really excited and you just can't wait to introduce yourself to the examiner. Okay? All right. So you walk into your examination room for the speaking section, and the examiner will first likely ask for your identification. That's administrative work. They have to make sure they have the right person in front of them. It's not a doppelganger. They haven't mixed up their files. So they're going to check your ID, the same ID that you use to register for the exam. So make sure to bring that ID with you, otherwise it's game over. Okay, so bring the ID with you, and then be ready for this first question. So the examiner here will say, please have a seat. First, can I see your identification? Can I see your identification? And then you will answer that in a nice, clear, full sentence. Don't just go sure or here. That's almost even a bit rude with an examiner to be that brief. Okay, so you want to answer in a full sentence. And I have some people answering. So Jainil Gabani, our member, says, yes, of course, here it is. Please have a look. That's good. It's confident. It's fluent. Upendra says, yes, certainly. Here's my ID, which I used to register for this exam. Please have a look. Stuti says, yes, of course. Here's my ID card, which I used during application also. Very good, Stuti. I like it. It's natural. It's good. Okay. Mohammed Izzat says, yes, certainly. Here's my passport that I used to register for the exam. Please have a look. Those are all good answers. Be nice and fluent. This is your first step to being on track for a Band 9. You don't have to have perfect pronunciation. For these first few questions, you should have perfect grammar and vocabulary, okay? They're very simple questions. And even though you think the examiner is not marking you for these, they're already creating a picture in their head about your English level. So show fluency right away. So yes, of course, here is my ID that I used for my IELTS application. Please take a look. Okay, nice and fluent. Okay, you don't have to have perfect pronunciation to get a Band 9, but you do need to be fluent and you do need to be accurate, especially for these first few questions. Okay, so again, repeat after me. Can I see your identification? Yes, of course. Here's my ID that I used for my IELTS application. Please take a look. And then hand them the ID. They'll take a look. They'll hand it back to you. Okay. Before they hand it back, however, there's a very good chance that they're going to ask you for your name. Now, because of COVID, again, sometimes they don't actually take your ID anymore. So there's, again, different ways that they do this now. They don't want to touch everybody's ID and then give it back to you. That's a great way to spread the virus. So sometimes they'll just say, can you please hold up your ID and show it to me? And then you have to hold up your ID, and then they'll look at it, stare at it, and then you'll say, yes, of course, here it is, please take a look. You can still just say the same. Yes, of course, here's my ID that I used for application. Please take a look and show it to them. Okay. All right. And then they will ask you, what is your full name? Again, be fluent when you're answering this question. Okay. Don't speak lots. Okay. They're just asking for your name. So don't start telling a story about where you got your name and what it means and who gave it to you, but give a nice full sentence answer. All right. Un says, my given name is Un and my surname is Nagame, but please just call me Un. Okay. You don't need to say but, Un. You can just say, please just call me Un. Okay. We don't usually say but when we're telling a person what to call us. But carries kind of a negative meaning, so careful how often you use but. Okay, people, even native speakers, tend to overuse the word but. All right, try to minimize the use of but in your vocabulary and you'll have much better communication. Okay. Shelly says, my full name is Shelly Shrivastava. You can refer to me by my first name, Shelly. Okay. Instead of you can, Shelly, say please. Please refer to me by my first name, Shelly. Okay, or my given name, Shelly. It's just a bit more polite, especially when you're sitting with an examiner. You do want to choose the right tone of interaction. Okay. Akshay says, my given name is Akshay. My family name is Chadhari. Please refer to me by my given name, Akshay. Akshay, that's exactly what I just said. So well done. That's a perfect, polite, fluent answer. Very nice. Okay. So my full name, let me try to pick a new one here. So my given name is Carlos, and my surname is Sanchez. Please just call me Carl for short. Okay, there's definitely a lot of Carlos Sanchez's, I'm sure, in the United States. Now, only use this for short if it's a short version of the full name. So Carlos, Carl, okay? So again, repeat after me. What is your full name? My given name is Carlos and my surname is Sanchez. Please just call me Carl for short. In the US, they'll say family name. In Canada, they'll say family name or surname. And in the UK, they often use surname for family names. Okay, so keep that in mind. Use either or, American, British. It's totally fine. Just make sure you're using the words accurately. Okay. Now, the examiner will say, okay, Carl, here's your identification back. The speaking has 3 parts. I will give you instructions for each part. For part 1, I will ask you some questions to get to know you better and some questions on a general topic. Do you work or study? Very common question. It's an easy icebreaker. The examiner gets to know you a little bit more, gets to feel your level a little bit more. Ferdov says, I'm simultaneously working and studying. I've been working for the past 5 years in St. Petersburg, and I've been learning English since June 2010 in order to continue my higher education at some university. It kind of makes sense that you're going to use English, Ferdov, so you don't have to say that. And for Dobbs, I would use the progressive continuous form right away. So always be really careful, everyone, that you're choosing the best grammar for the context. Here, when you're studying or when you're working, it's something that you generally do continuously. So using the progressive form is a good choice. Or using the present perfect. And for Dobbs, you do a good job of the present perfect. You say, I have been learning. In fact, you're using present perfect progressive. So you're saying, I have been learning English since, which is great, showing high-level vocabulary, and grammar range is really important for a Band 9. At the beginning for Dobbs, I would start with the progressive form. So I'm simultaneously working and studying in St. Petersburg. So otherwise, quite a nice answer indeed. Simultaneously means at the same time, okay? All right, Rumit Singh says, currently, I'm working as a business analyst at a pharmaceutical company going by the name of ANZ Pharma. And you're also obviously studying for the IELTS exam, or you've been studying English because you have some kind of a goal to pursue immigration or further studies. So maybe include a little bit of that. Lei Hai Dang says, I'm currently a student. I've been learning in Vinghuk Gifted High School. And I'm ambitious to study biology in university. Okay, a little bit more, Lei. A little bit more, Lei Hai. Okay, a little bit more. Maksud says, I am currently a student in high school, and in the coming future, I'm planning to enter a university in the tourism field. So for me, it's really important to know English very well, as it is the international language of travel and business. Absolutely, Maksud. You have to be a fantastic communicator using the English language. I agree. Okay. All right. So good. So if you're doing both, emphasize that. A good way to emphasize is to use what's called correlative conjunctions. I've talked about this lots. I will talk about this lots just because it's not used enough. So I'm both working as an IELTS trainer, and I'm studying to become a certified British Council agent so that I can further aid people around the world to achieve their goals in studying and traveling abroad. I've been pursuing my work and studies for the past decade. All right. So here we go, everyone. Here's my answer. I just kind of twisted this to be mine, but you can work this kind of grammar with different information to suit your own situation. So again, repeat after me. Do you work or study? I'm both working as an IELTS trainer and I'm studying to become a certified British Council agent so that I can further aid people around the world to achieve their goals in studying and traveling abroad. I've been pursuing my work and studies for the past decade. Okay, so notice my use of grammar. Notice the both, okay, and both this and that. It's a positive. Notice the explanation so that I can, making it a compound sentence. Okay, so I'm giving an answer, an explanation, all within one sentence. That's very, very important to get those higher band scores. Okay, you want to show fluency and grammar range together. All right. And then I switch to another grammar form, just like for Dobbs, I throw a present perfect progressive in there. I've been pursuing my work and studies for the past decade. A decade is 10 years, and that's what's called quantitative language. It means that you're using numbers to clearly express yourself. So you want to use numbers, okay, to express yourself clearly. Okay, everyone, let's go to this next question. So very often the examiners will ask one or two more kind of easy icebreakers where basically a band 3 student should be able to answer them. Okay, so here we go. What is your favorite food? I'd like to find that out from some of you. There's a lot of people around the world, different cuisines, different cultures. I'm sure we're going to see a good number of different answers for this one. Okay. Roshni Kunte says, my go-to food is Maharashtrian cuisine in that crisp lady finger served with rice or chapati. It's one of my favorites since it's healthy as well as delicious. It's also easy to digest. I just had a plate of it last night. Okay, Roshni, finish up with that example. Otherwise, really nice. Okay, so answer, explain, example. I just cooked this meal yesterday. Amanda Lopez says, when it comes to food, it's difficult to choose a favorite, in my opinion. However, I do adore pizza, even though it's not healthy. Amanda, that's good. Now, Amanda, if you could be even more specific, I can give you even more band scores. So pizza's great. What do you like? Thin crust pizza, deep dish pizza, pepperoni, Hawaiian, Mediterranean. There are so many. Margarita pizza, so many different kinds of pizzas. If you can be a little bit more specific with the kind of pizza that you like, then that shows more lexical resource, so more depth in vocabulary and more critical thinking. Okay, so Amanda, it's a great start. You want to finish great. So my favorite is Hawaiian pizza. I like those sweet little pieces of pineapple. In fact, I ordered a large Hawaiian just last night from Domino's and had it with my family during movie night. Boom. That's how you get a 9. Okay? You're being original and you're giving lots of details. All right? That's what you want to do. Okay. The Global Peace Channel says, well, my favorite food is biryani. I often eat it about every 2 days. And it is the most liked dish in our city. Global Peace, your start is good, your finish is bad. Don't generalize, okay? So avoid that strategy, students, where you start specific, like my favorite food is biryani, which is great. That's what you want to do, is you want to be specific. And then biryani is one of the most popular Indian dishes. It contains, no. It's going too general. So just explain why you like it. Okay, I love the spices used in biryani, and then go into details about when you had it last, okay? Part 1 is all about you, so you want to really keep it that way. You want to speak personally. You want to be original, okay? All right. My favorite... You can use the question, okay? You don't always have to, so don't be afraid to use the vocabulary. You don't always have to paraphrase. Try to paraphrase as much as possible, but sometimes it's just good to be quick and fluent. So what is your favorite food? My favorite food. Okay, so my favorite food is beluga caviar on French, on a slice of toast with a bit of butter and lemon. I love the sweet and salty flavor of this food. However, I rarely eat it because it is so very expensive, about $100 for a small container. I have it maybe once every year. Okay, so I don't know if it's my favorite food. I've had it a few times. Definitely delicious. Here we go. Repeat after me. What is your favorite food? My favorite food is beluga caviar on a slice of toast with a bit of butter and lemon. I love the sweet and salty flavor of this food. However, I rarely eat it because it's so very expensive, about $100 for a small container. I have it maybe once a year. I'm sure if we have some Russian students in the chat today, they're thinking, yeah, I know what you're talking about, because of course caviar is very famous in Russia and some of the former Soviet states as well. Okay, so here we go, students. Now you've introduced yourself and you're on a roll, okay? So again, let's just recap very, very quickly some important points on how to start with that band 9, okay? So be confident, be fluent, give original and detailed answers, okay? Use quantitative language and a broad range of grammar and vocabulary which is accurate in context. Okay, so that's kind of it in a nutshell of what we've talked about so far, and you just want to keep going with that. Okay, now answer, explain, example. Okay, answer, explain, example. Sunam is asking a question. Sunam says, sir, do we need to mention a single cuisine or food if they ask you this question, what is your favorite food? Absolutely you do, yes. If they're asking you what is your favorite, you should be talking about one food. You shouldn't start talking about, well, I like pizzas as well as lasagna, as well as caviar, as well as sushi. No. What is your favorite? Even if you don't have a favorite, pick one, pretend it is, and talk about it. Okay? All right. Here we go, everyone. So now the examiner will introduce a general topic that you should be able to talk about. It's usually a topic that people start learning about fairly early in their language studies. So if you think about what were some of the first kinds of topics that I learned about when I started studying English, you'll realize it was food, clothes, your home, talking about your hobbies. So these kinds of topics that you learned in your first year or two of English studies, those are kind of the topics of part one, the general kind of questions. Now, in the chat, I do see quite a few students speaking in other languages too. So Karandeep and a few other students, I see quite a bit of students from India chatting in other languages. Please keep it in English, okay? So be nice to everybody. There's people from around the world in here. So try to keep in English if you're learning English, okay? It's polite and it's effective. Okay, so now the examiner introduces this topic. And the topic is, let's talk about cars and bikes. I like these kind of topics where you have similar kind of objects that are everyday, like here obviously transportation, cars and bikes. Okay. And so then they'll ask you the first question. Do you know how to ride a bicycle? So do you know how to ride a bicycle? Give me a nice full sentence answer for this one. Okay. All right. Here we go. So Abhay Nathani says, I want some help. I'm good at listening and reading. Abhay, that does not look like you're answering the question. If somebody has a question that's off topic, the best is just to send me an email. Okay. Obviously, it doesn't make sense for me with 520 people watching to start talking about an off-topic answer, but I'm happy to answer questions if you send me an email. Okay. Elite Gamer says, yes, I do know how to ride a bicycle, and I ride it every day to commute to my college, which is around 5 miles away from my house. Okay, very good. Elite Gamer, the word that you're looking for is commute. Okay, so I'll share that word with everybody. It's a verb as well as a noun. Okay, it's every day travel. For example, I commute half an hour to work each day. Okay, so your everyday travel, the correct and accurate verb for that is commute. Okay, all right. So let's keep going here. Munso DX says, yes, absolutely. My father taught me how to ride a bicycle, and nowadays I use my bike to travel long distances, like from my home to university. Munso, very good. I made a couple of corrections to your grammar so that it's more natural. Okay, pay attention to that. Pullen says, yes, I know how to ride a bicycle. Moreover, when I was a child, I had rode my bike of my own. I was terrified because I crashed into a car and I fell. So now I ride my bike carefully. Okay, Pullen, good. I have to make a few grammar adjustments there so that it makes sense. Students, if you're moving across time with your response, so you start in the present, you jump to the past, you jump to the present, or even into the future as what you're doing, Poland, you have to be very careful with the way that you're using your grammar. So you're moving from present tense to present perfect or past perfect, then you're moving to potentially future perfect or present perfect back. Okay, so be really careful with your grammar control, all right? Rashika says, certainly, yes, I do. I've been riding a bicycle since my childhood. I often use a bike for my shopping because there are many locations near my home, and it helps me to stay healthy. Last week, I rode my bike about 10K to get some veggies and fruits. Sure, Rashika, that's good. Nice use of grammar there. Okay, so do you know how to ride a bicycle? Indeed, I do. In fact, I love riding my bike. I've been riding bicycles since about the age of 6, at which time my father taught me how to ride. I was contemplating this morning whether or not to ride my bike to this exam, but in the end, I decided to take, let's call it public transit. Okay. So here is an answer that's kind of unique. It's got a variety of grammar. It moves from the past to the present. Okay, and present perfect, past perfect could work very well for this question also. So here we go, everyone. Do you know how to ride a bicycle? Again, speak and repeat. So chatting is great. And when you speak and repeat, that's perfect. So let's practice one more time. Do you know how to ride a bicycle? Indeed, I do. In fact, I love riding my bike. I've been riding bicycles since about the age of 6, at which time my father taught me how to ride. I was contemplating this morning whether or not to ride my bike to this exam, but in the end, I decided to take public transit. All right. Next question. How often do you ride a bike? Okay, so if you haven't answered this, then now's a good time to answer it clearly. If you have answered it, as some of you had, then make sure to give more details on the times, the locations, and the frequency. So here we go. How often do you ride a bike? Okay, Mohammed Azat says, I usually use my bike around 4 to 5 times a day, not just to bring my needs, but also when my mom takes me to take my younger brother on it and going on tours with others. Okay, Mohammed, you're moving around a little bit there. Be careful. A little bit of grammar correction definitely needed. All right, Hardik says, certainly, I use my deluxe bike, which is 150 cc's, to commute to college, but due to the pandemic and the lockdown, I rarely use it these days. Just last week, I went to my cousin's home, and that's the most recent time I was on it. Okay, so you're talking about a motorbike, which is okay. It's not clear here with bike whether it's a motorbike or a bicycle, but definitely make sure that you make that clear in your answers. So with regard to my motorbike, I use it 4 to 5 times each day. However, my pedal bike, I haven't used for the past few years, okay? So if you're making a distinction between motorbike and pedal bike, then make that clear, okay? Motorbike versus a pedal bike. All right? One, you use your human, and then of course there's electric bikes now as well, which I forgot about, but you can say that as well. So electric bike, okay. All right. Heba says, well, I always have hard times with bicycles. My brother used to teach me how to ride them because he was pretty good at it, because he is pretty good at it. But I'm only able to ride it with training wheels. I think what you're talking about, Heba, is training wheels. If you get into some details like training wheels, then make sure to know the vocabulary. Otherwise, just don't talk about it, okay? So pretend like that's not true. Pretend like you are fantastic at riding bicycles, Heba, if you're not sure and you don't know the vocabulary. Training wheels, okay? All right. Let's see a couple more here. Arda says, I ride bicycles every day because it makes me happy and helps me relax. Also, I ride a bicycle with my friends. Nowadays, we can't ride bicycles so often because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Okay, Arda, good. When you're giving your answer to this question, how often, you should always be thinking to go from qualitative to quantitative, okay? So qualitative is like frequently, okay? And then you want to always add the quantitative. So that would be like 3 times a day. Okay, so I frequently ride my pedal bike, not only to school, but also for shopping and to meet up with friends. I would say about 3 to 4 times a day. However, with the pandemic right now, this is not the case. Okay? These days, maybe only once or twice a week to get groceries. Okay, so that would be your full, clear answer to this question. Okay, repeat after me. So how often do you ride a bike? I frequently ride my pedal bike, not only to school, but also for shopping and to meet up with friends. I would say about 3 to 4 times a day. However, with the pandemic right now, this is not the case. These days, maybe only once or twice a week to get groceries. Okay, all right. Now, again, make sure to be original and move from qualitative to quantitative, especially when you have this often, because riding a bike frequently is not the same for everyone. For some people, riding a bicycle frequently is once a week. For some people, riding a bike frequently is 5 times a day. So different strokes for different folks, okay? It means different people do it different ways. And you want to be clear with this, and to be clear, you want to always shift to quantitative information. Practice that, okay? Make sure to practice that, all right? Okay. Here we go. Next question, no surprise, a little bit of a contrast. Okay. How often do you use a car? Okay. How often do you use a car? Give me a nice full sentence for this one. So how often do you use a car? All right. Got some good answers coming up. You can see some nice. Yeah, Shaylee, a motorcycle can be referred to as a bike. You just need to make that clear, as I was mentioning earlier. Jainil Gabani says, well, I don't know how to drive a car, so I never use a car, but I'm planning to learn how to drive next month in the driving school. which is next to my home. Aha, Janil, careful. I didn't say how often do you drive a car. It's how often do you use a car. How often do you use a car can also mean that you are a passenger. You don't have to be the driver. Okay, so be very, very careful. Pay attention to verbs. That is a big part of getting a good score. Most of us do use cars even though we might not be the driver. Okay. Shaman says, although I have my own car, I rarely use it so that I reduce my carbon footprint. I would say I drive it maybe once a week when I want to go out of the city. Last weekend, I went to a nearby waterfall to relax. Shaman, very nice thoughts. Good string of answer, explain, example. Couple of mistakes with grammar, but you're on the right track. Just keep practicing, okay? You're on the right track. All right, nicely done. Justpreet says, well, I used to drive my car regularly 7 to 8 months ago for college. However, due to the COVID crisis, this is not the case. Now my car is sitting in my garage and I haven't touched it for a month. Okay, good. All right, so a little bit of explanation then at that point. Nguyen Min says, I use my car only on the weekends when I hang out with my girlfriend. During the week, the traffic jam is pretty bad, so I prefer to go with my motorbike. Nguyen Min, very nice. Okay, that's great. Archie Desai says, I love driving my car. I prefer traveling by car just about anywhere. I make sure to go for a drive daily as it makes me feel relaxed. Archie, all right. Good. You don't need to double up or triple up, Archie, on your answers. I'll catch them. I caught that first one. And if somebody is hammering away and typing it in or copy pasting, then I'll ignore it just because it's not fair and it spams the chat, okay? So don't do that. I'll always catch different students as much as possible. Poonam, I do not use a car on a daily basis because I'm not much of an expert in driving, especially at nighttime, so I use public transport to commute from home to office. Okay, Poonam, good. Just make sure, Poonam, that you do answer the question. So you obviously use your car rarely. How rarely is that? Like during the daytime, a couple times a month? Okay, so you still want to be quite accurate, okay? So I seldom use my car simply because I live in downtown Budapest and most locations are within walking distance of my home, such as banks and shops, so I don't really need to drive. I would say that I find myself in a car maybe 5 times a month. All right. Here we go. So here we go. Repeat after me. How often do you use a car? I seldom use my car simply because I live in downtown Budapest and most locations are within walking distance of my home, such as banks and shops. So I don't really need to drive. I would say that I find myself in a car maybe 5 times a month. Okay, good. All right. Now, here are 4 more questions for you to practice with. Where do you usually go by car or bike? Is driving in your city easy or difficult? Why? When is it better to use a bike than a car? If you could buy any car, what would it be and why? You can see that these questions get more and more difficult. I will let you try these questions on your own, and you can send your answers as an MP3 recording to my email, adrian@aehelp.com. So again, send those as an MP3 recording, and I will send you back an estimate for your score and let you know what kind of a band score that would be. Okay, so send an MP3 recording for a free score estimate. Okay, a wonderful job, everyone. Great participation. Over 500 of you in the presentation today at any given moment in time. That's fantastic. It's good to see so many of you studying hard for your English and your exams. Again, be sure, everyone, to check us out at aehelp.com for academic IELTS and gieltshelp.com for general. And for the next couple of days, we still have the best discount of the year going on our premium courses. Use the code CYBERDAY and you'll get a 40% discount on our premium package, which is a lifetime access always. So getting 40% on it now is a good idea while it lasts. And hopefully I will see all of you tomorrow for some task 2 writing and some listening. So some task 2 writing and some listening practice coming up tomorrow. Wonderful interaction today. I hope everybody has got a bit better idea on what you need to do to start your speaking interview with that Band 9 level introduction. Okay. Next class is tomorrow. The members chat class is starting a little bit earlier, 90 minutes earlier, and then we'll have our listening practice and strategy for parts 1 and 2 right after at the same time as this. You're very welcome, everybody. You're all beautiful, beautiful people. Keep up your good studies. See you tomorrow. If it's late in your country, sweet dreams. I'm Adrian, signing out from Budapest for now. Much love to all of you.